Nigel Farage, what's not to like? A ban on new care workers from overseas, only allowing skilled workers who have degrees to come over here, increasing the English language requirements, a doubling of the time before you can get permanent settlement. Are you cheering?
Well, rhetorically, of course, you know, he said things today that I've been calling for over 20 years. The question is, does he actually mean it? And why now?
My question is, are you going to vote for this stuff?
No, I don't think I am at all. I'll tell you why. Because, you know, he's got in there, oh, we'll try and amend the interpretation of the ECHR, which is frankly fiddling around the edges. I've looked at the student changes. They're going to make almost no difference whatsoever. And I don't believe that a government like this, that with him at the helm, who, let's face it, has campaigned for free movement of people for nearly the entirety of his political career, I don't believe he'll enforce any of it.
I just wonder whether the good is the enemy of the perfect here. There is stuff that you would support if it did what it said on the tin. Take the ban on new care workers from overseas. That will cause some kind of upset, is causing some upset in the care. Is that something you back?
The only reason that this press conference happened today is because of blind panic over what reform did to the Labour vote in parts of England on the 1st of May. That's the only reason he's doing it, and I do not believe he's got the will to carry any of this out.
Accepting your victory lap, but nevertheless returning to my question, would you vote for a ban on new care workers from overseas? Is that something
Well, let's
back?
see if this comes in the form of firm legislation. Let's see what's actually going to be presented.
So you might back some of it?
Well, we'll see. If it was stuff that did actually bind the government, there might be amendments on this that you would support. But I'm not convinced.
Because it's easier to oppose everything the government does on immigration politically, isn't it? Just say no to it, or pick holes and see if they're real.
That's what the Conservatives do. I mean, how the Conservatives are today criticising the government's record on immigration and asylum, and I mean, frankly, they should be in hiding after what they did during their 14 years. We will look at what comes forward in legislative terms, yes, but frankly, this is just a knee-jerk reaction to reform. There's no sincerity in it at all. It is, and on most things,
if it's in the right direction, why won't you back it?
Because it's fiddling around the edges. It's fiddling around the edges. I see no evidence here that there won't be vast numbers of people who come as students and then overstay or claim asylum or do what else. And because
just to come back to the care workers thing, which strikes me as the biggest central thing in this proposal by the Prime Minister. If it is a ban on new care workers coming from overseas, would you support that?
The principle, yes.
Now, I want to understand how you would deal with legal migration, because I'm just looking through your manifesto. I've just got some of the questions that just flow from Reform UK's proposal. Because as you say, you think that you are setting the political tone. So I just want to understand how it would all work. One of your big proposals in the election campaign was a freeze on non-essential immigration, but you do say that there is an exception, which is essential skills. Now, you've just been criticising the government for tinkering around the edges and fudging things. Having an essential skills kind of carve out from your impressive sounding, if you like, low migration, freeze on non-essential immigration, that feels like quite a big caveat.
So let's take engineering, for argument's sake. We don't train enough engineers. We just don't. It's crazy. We've been pushing young people to doing social sciences degrees or whatever it is. So you're an engineering company, you need somebody to come in on skills. If they come in on a time-dependent work permit, right? If all the right health insurances and levies have been paid, and if at the end of that period of time you leave or you're forced to leave, then it works. That is not what has been happening over the course of the last few years, and it's truly astonishing that vast numbers of people have come to Britain from overseas over the last few years and do not work. And this is where family reunion has been going wrong. This is where overstays have been going
Before you
wrong.
take us down on a diversion, essential skills, your carve-out from the ban on non-essential immigration, you say that exemption is mainly around healthcare.
The problem with all of this...
That sounds awfully like an exemption, maybe even for some sections. But is it that we're not getting enough social care?
We have not been training enough nurses and doctors, deliberately not been training enough nurses and doctors. And so we've made ourselves dependent on those that come from overseas. And we con ourselves that the NHS can't operate without foreign doctors and nurses, completely turning a blind eye to the fact that 7.2 million foreign-born people have registered with GPs in the last 11 years. And where this whole debate goes wrong is everyone focuses on work, work, work. Most people that have come in the last few years are not working.
I'm just trying to understand what your exemption for people who have
You're missing the
essential
point. You're missing the point. Most people that come to Britain as immigrants don't work at all.
Forgive me, I'm just trying to understand what your
Well,
proposal's
you're dealing
been.
with.
I'm dealing with your manifesto from the last election.
And you're doing what all the media do. You're assuming that everyone that comes in works. Most don't.
No, I'm just trying to understand how wide your exemption for people who are essentially who have essential skills mainly around healthcare is. Can you give any more flesh to the bones on that?
Well, hopefully we'll be training enough nurses and doctors not to need anybody from overseas
So why put that in
within
your
the space
manifesto?
of a few years.
So what
However,
could it
and we
look
should be
like?
ashamed of ourselves taking nurses from countries like Mali.
But how many? How big could this be? I mean, exemptions have been put into immigration law in plans in the past in order to carve out. Sounds like you're just the same as everybody else.
Work permits should be separate to immigration. If you get a job for an American TV station and you stay 48 hours longer than your work permit, they will smash your front door down, put you in handcuffs and deport you. We allow all of these routes, whether it's coming into work, whether it's coming as a student, we have allowed all of these to become routes to long-term migration.
Will you put a cap on the number of people who can come in under your essential skills exemption, particularly in healthcare, for people who come in the country?
By the time of the next election, we will. I can't tell you the numbers right now. I don't have all the figures. But what I can tell you is anyone that comes in will not be allowed to stay long-term. That's the difference.
So you are committing to a cap on the numbers of people?
You ask me in 4 years' time, all right? Ask me in 4 years'
I will.
time. You can play whatever silly games you want right now. The fact is, there is nothing that has been said today that I think is genuinely going to be followed through with vigour and lead to levels of immigration going back to historic levels of net 30,000 a year. That's what it was for nearly 60 years after the end of the Second World War. This is, I confidently predict that whatever comes out of today, we're going to get net migration running at hundreds of thousands a year.